Frank Underwood is a very Machiavellian character from the famous series House of Cards. He was the chief whip in the Congress. He also became a vice president, then a president. So how does this character build his basis of power? How does this character manage to get ahead and become so powerful? Well, Frank Underwood is really good at establishing, creating, maintaining alliances. He networks with people, he talks to people, he forms connections with them, and most importantly, to gain their favor, he provides them with favors. He provides people with favors because he understands the concept of reciprocity. Reciprocity is considered the most potent weapon of persuasion and influence. It is the number one principle of Cialdini's 6, now became 7, principles of influence. So what is reciprocity? Reciprocity is a principle of influence that involves the exchange of favors or gifts between individuals, which can help to establish social relationships and build trust. By using the principle of reciprocity, you can gain social power by creating a positive and favorable impression in the minds of others. What reciprocity is basically this deep need to reciprocate someone else's favor because you feel a certain indebtedness to them. If I open the door for you, even a small favor like that will create a positive impression, association in your mind, and next time you might open the door for me or do something even more favorable. So, reciprocity. Reciprocity is so powerful because it is necessary to form societies. Before the existence of currencies, people used to trade and exchange items with each other. You would give me fish, I would give you milk, you would give me milk, I'll give you iron, you'll give me this, I'll give you a tool, and so on and so forth. So it is built within the human system. It is built within the human community. It is important for survival. Without it, we wouldn't have survived. And most importantly, we wouldn't have thrived. So, let's discuss one of the quotes from Frank Underwood. Frank Underwood said, "Generosity is its own form of power." He considers generosity, giving someone something, the act of bestowing favors, as its own form of power. Of course, he appeals to people's interests and discusses and studies people's needs and wants and tries to personalize those favors and that generosity specifically to them, because what is valuable to me might not be valuable to you. And certain gifts, certain favors create much more impact. Okay, so how does Frank do this? 1. We can remember the Chief Secretary of State, the gatekeeper of the president at the time, in season 1 of House of Cards. She was a very tough woman, but she had a soft spot. Her soft spot was her son. She felt guilty because she was spending too much time working and not enough time helping her 18-year-old teenager to get into an Ivy League school. So he was refused from his preferred university. And what did Frank do? He offered help and gave a call, and suddenly the kid was accepted. Of course, this was a calculated favor on Frank's part, even though he stated otherwise. Again, Vasquez became one of his supporters and helped him get to the position of vice president. Another instance that we see in the show is his bodyguard. Mitchem made a huge mistake. He shot a bullet unpromptly, which caused him to get fired because he endangered the people around him. But what did Frank do? Frank forgave him and gave him his job back. This act of forgiveness is a favor. This act of simply giving a call to one of his friends in order to make sure that Mitchem had a job that Mitchem's career was still alive gave him great loyalty points in Mitchem's mind. Although it was simple for Frank, it was huge for Mitchem. And what did Mitchem do? When the famous journalist in the series tried to assassinate Frank Underwood, Mitchem sacrificed his life for Frank and eventually died. So, remember, Vasquez's son got a college acceptance in exchange of supporting Frank to become vice president. Mitchem's mistake was forgiven, and down the line, he sacrificed his life, the most important thing to him, for Frank. Do these exchanges seem fair or equal to you? No, they're not. Well, that is the power of reciprocity. Frank's support of the president, backing his elections, collecting donations for him, helping him through his difficult time, providing him and his wife with a private psychologist to work on their problems, and so many more efforts on Frank's part were rewarded when Walker, the current president, stepped down and announced Frank to become the new president. Despite his illegal actions, he had dirt on Frank but chose to ignore it. This is the power of reciprocity. La Rochefoucauld said something very awesome about reciprocity and generosity. He said, "Generosity is often hidden ambition. What appears as a simple, modest, friendly act of favor disguises within it a lot of ambition." Alright, let's talk about some historical examples of this principle. There is a religious cult called Hare Krishna who used to use this principle of reciprocity to get success and collect donations. They traveled from India all the way to the US in order to expand their efforts and power base. What happened? They used to beg for money. Beg here, beg there, and nothing happened. So what did they do? They used the principle of reciprocity. They would go to airports and provide tourists, foreigners, with flowers. For example, you're traveling from Spain to the US, you arrive at the airport, finally, and one of the members of Hare Krishna would give you a flower. And you'll be surprised, you would take the flower, and then they will ask you for a donation in the name of Krishna. They will say that the flower is simply a gift, and you can choose to give or not give. There is no problem. And because people have this installed sense of indebtedness, this need to reciprocate and pay off debt, they would simply give a donation. In this manner, the basis of power of Hare Krishna group grew and grew and grew and grew and became one of the most prominent religious cults and movements in the world, opening hundreds of centers all around the world simply because of this trick of reciprocity. There's also another great example of this in World War II. I believe one of the soldiers from the US or the UK, I don't remember, but they were on the Good Guys Alliance. They were trying to spy on a German camp. And what happened was they got caught by a German soldier. At that moment, they got caught. The US or UK soldier instinctively offered the German soldier a piece of bread because he was eating and he was shocked by someone coming from behind and just offered a piece of bread. This small gesture made the German soldier feel a sense of indebtedness and led to the survival of the soldier's life. A small piece of bread in exchange of the soldier's life. This is the power of reciprocity. So, what are some features of reciprocity? What makes it the most potent weapon of influence, the most potent principle of influence, is the fact that it trumps the other principles of influence, like liking, authority, scarcity, and so on. For example, How reciprocity trumps liking? Well, one, you do not have to like the other person for you to return the favor they gave you. I helped you with a project. You don't have to like me to return that favor. That's so useful because it lifts like a huge condition, the need to like. We rarely do favors for people we don't like. Rarely. And you can bypass that simply by offering someone a favor first. It's like a preemptive attack. That's the feature number one. Alright, so what's another feature of reciprocity? Reciprocity opens you up to uninvited, unrequired favors. So these uninvited favors you didn't ask for, favors you didn't need, they have the same impact of creating this feeling of indebtedness. This means I can proactively do something for you that you didn't ask for, and you will still feel that feeling of indebtedness. That is such a huge weapon because it bypasses utility, okay? It bypasses utility. You just don't need the favor to be useful for you to create that feeling in the other person. Again, if they need that favor, it makes it even more powerful. If they ask for that favor, it makes it even more powerful. The fact that it's still good, despite being uninvited and unrequired, is a huge thing. For example, a donation in someone else's name. You didn't directly benefit them. They didn't ask for it, they didn't require it. You did it, and they still feel that sense of obligation. They still want to pay you back. The third feature of reciprocity is unequal exchanges, which we discussed in the Frank Underwood situation. Acceptance in college in exchange of support as vice president. Helping Mitchem to get the job back in exchange of absolute loyalty. And finally, sacrificing his life for Frank. You get the idea. So what are some elements of reciprocity? Again, you have to understand what people want and need. What do they want? What do they desire from this world? What passions do they have? What things they yearn for beyond the simple need? What makes their eyes sparkle? What makes their hearts itch? You have to answer this and you will get the key to influence these people. Understand what people want and need. Second element is that you can do favors for anyone, but if you do favors to the powerful, that will make you powerful. You will gain powerful friends and powerful places and expand your basis of power. Find powerful people, try to understand their needs and wants, and target them with a favor. Small favors. Don't tell me you don't have anything to offer. If you don't have money, you can provide them with an alliance or a new contact. Or if you have nothing, you can even offer them your time. You can volunteer. A lot of people volunteer in campaigns and elections and simply find themselves, after a period of time, landing a very powerful job. So, do favors to the powerful. The third element is forget about the favors. Don't wait for the exchange. Do more favors. Favors here, favors there. Don't be cheap. Don't be desperate for people to return that favor because they will feel it in you. They will sense it within you. You will ooze that negative, desperate energy that you need to simply avoid. Forget about the favors. Do as the Italians say. Forget about it. So you have to forget about the favors. 4. Try to seek win-win situations. When people think about competition, when people think about influence, they feel like they're gonna take from the other person. They're gonna take money, they're gonna take time, they're gonna take resources, they're gonna take something and leave the other person with nothing. This is not how powerful people get their positions. The powerful get positions by making friends, by creating and seeking actively, proactively, seeking win-win situations. There are different types of situations. There are zero-sum games and there are non-zero-sum games. A zero-sum game is basically when both the people and the interaction gain nothing. they lose. It's a lose-lose situation, right? For example, the war between Russia and US. If it escalates, they will use nuclear weapons and none of them will win. A zero-sum game. Life is not a zero-sum game. 2. Non-zero-sum games, which include that one person loses and the other wins, or both of them win. So, always seek that both parties win. That's the way to get real influence. Influence that lasts. Because you can get fast money, you can get fast attention, you can get fast power, but it will not last unless you seek the win-win situations. So, how can you use this principle as a career and work device? Well, you can share knowledge, internal knowledge in the work, in the job, something that will make the other person's work easier. Let's say, for example, there is a promotion coming. You can share this information with a friend, with an alliance, so they work harder, they display better qualities, they display their skills, their ambition, which will help them land this promotion. Now that they are promoted, they will feel this hidden indebtedness to you and will help you advance as well. Indirectly, you have created power for yourself. Another aspect of this is simple mentorship, where you show someone who's just came or just joined the group how things are done. You share with them the rules, you show them how you can do a certain job, you show them the best places, you show them the most cooperative people, you show them the process, the shortcuts, and the common mistakes that they can avoid. By offering this mentorship, you create a lot of gratitude, especially that when someone just joins the job, they feel awkward, they feel alone, they feel like a fraud, like an imposter, and this will help them a lot. Another way you can use the principle of reciprocity by making introductions. You introduce someone to someone who will help them. There's someone who wants to do a specific task. You show them the person that will help them do that and offer them the best quality or the less expense. Or you can simply attend a networking event with a friend and show them around. This brings me to the other device, networking events. So you can reciprocate by taking someone to a networking event or by inviting people to networking events. You can make your own networking events. Actually, Henry Kissinger did this in college. He recognized this opportunity to invite a lot of smart people, a lot of powerful people to these networking events. And this became one of the most prominent sources of his power and one of the reasons why he was so successful. And he had his hands in everything. You can also do this by giving feedback. You can also collaborate with other people from different fields, different functions, different sectors, different sections in groups in the work environment. You can give a personalized training to someone. You can offer professional development opportunities by allowing them to go to a specific internship, giving them access to something. Another way is to recognize their efforts in front of other people. This will create a huge sense of gratitude in their hearts because you acknowledge their efforts. If you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. That's the way. You can do this by providing resources, human resources, mechanical resources, temporal resources. You can do this by offering to take on additional tasks. Let's say you finished your job and you want to help them out with their additional tasks because the holiday is coming and they don't have to attend for extra hours. Just by doing this simply, you make sure that they see their families, which is huge because it's a huge morale booster. If you are away from your family, you are very miserable. Or you can simply celebrate milestones. You celebrate their success, their birthdays, their anniversaries. You can remind them of their friend's birthday, of their friend's anniversary, or whatever situation you got going on. This simple act of reminder will get you an A+ in their books. Imagine that it gets to your boss that you are the person who reminded everybody of their birthday. They will remember this for a very long time. Alright, let's talk about how this can be used in sales. A salesman can use the principle of reciprocity by simply offering free samples. You get to taste this, and you will feel this hidden obligation to pay for the entire thing. Free trials. You can use the software for 30 days or extension for 7 days, and you will feel grateful and pay for the entire product. You can offer discounts and coupons as a salesman, exclusive content as a YouTuber, personalized recommendations as a content creator, referral bonuses, exclusive events, personalized consultations. You can offer free training, charitable donations. You can create loyalty programs. If you do this, you can get X stars. If you reach 7 stars, then you will be able to buy something else. Insider access. You can offer social proof. Okay? By giving the other person social proof, you can offer free upgrades, free shipping, limited time offers, early access to sales, or surprise gifts. Surprise gifts are really fun because people don't expect them. Alright, so let's talk about the final element of this video. Protection. How can you protect yourself from the principle of reciprocity? Well, this is quite difficult because you will forget this. We don't give much importance to this element of reciprocity in our lives, and this gets us in trouble. It's very subtle, so you need to keep talking to yourself about it, keep reminding yourself about it, and applying it in your life. You will only see its power if you apply it. 1. You can refuse the gifts and protect yourself from the principle. Although this is a quite negative solution. Why? Because it is considered very impolite to refuse other people's gifts. You'll be seen as ungrateful in a way. Some cultures are easier on this than others, but it's still a difficult thing to do. And it will feel awkward. You need to have a stomach for this type of stuff. Agreeable people will suffer from this attempt to refuse people's gifts, because they are natural team members who also like to provide favors. Anyway, so how do people do this? Well, women, for example, buy their own drinks in the bar or buy their own meals or split the meal when they go on dates because the men won't expect sexual favors from the women. They do this to protect themselves from creeps and to lower this obligation and to eliminate this feeling of indebtedness to the men. In this way, they can alleviate the guilt and clear their heads to see if the man is really interested or he simply wants what she has, sex. What's another way of protecting yourself from the principle of reciprocity? Cialdini, the author of Influence, the Science of Persuasion, offers that you redefine gifts as sales devices. What you do is understand that these are tools to get you to invest. So, when someone offers you something free, you simply understand that it's a device. You can accept the gift. You can accept the free sample, the free trial, the social proof, the access, whatever they try to give you. You accept it and do nothing. Don't give them anything back because it's not required of you. It's a tool. It's a sales device on their part. Fight your natural inclination to give back by simply redefining gifts as sales devices. Also, you must understand that the opponent here is not the other person. So don't get upset at the other person for using this, because it's human nature to be susceptible to this rule. You must pay attention to the rule. The opponent is the rule, not the other person. Stay calm, pay attention to the rule, and try not to fall for it by redefining it as a sales device. I hope you liked this video. I'm sure that it's quite different from other videos that I have done since it's a little bit unscripted. If you didn't like it, please let me know why you didn't like it. If you liked it, please let me why you liked it. Whatever you do, make sure to engage with this video by simply leaving a like or a comment. I'll see you in the next video.